The latest LEGO Sonic the Hedgehog set is this promotional Sega Genesis controller recreation, which was available at the beginning of September from the 7th to the 18th, where if you spent $130 in the United States or more at LEGO stores and shop at home, you'd get this set. But I can't help but feel a bit disappointed with the execution here. I do have to keep in mind that this is a giveaway promo, which also frustrates me because I wish this was just sold on store shelves because it is something that's desired and unique. However, the timing of this release is pretty bad, where it comes out a month before that Game Boy set. And honestly, the Game Boy set is the most faithful console recreation I've seen from LEGO yet. I absolutely love how that Game Boy set actually has buttons that you could push down, and it kind of feels the same way as pushing down an actual Game Boy button. It has so much more printed details as well, where this is just loaded with stickers. That includes this scene at the back, which I found incredibly awkward that they just keep this back open right here. There's no cover to cover this up or anything. And even this back, which is seemingly a scene from Green Hill Zone in the first Sonic the Hedgehog game, this is actually a print that is present in the Sonic Team HQ set that was released this summer, the command truck. So that's not even a new print to this set. It's very frustrating that they have 3 stickers for these 1x4 parts at the bottom grass design. That is actually a printed piece in the original Sonic Ideas set based off of Sonic the Hedgehog 1. Why didn't we just get that piece once again instead of having this 3-time sticker right here? I do like the use of those hold stud pieces for rings right there. I guess the use for this piece that's usually used for like cash registers or little computer pads and stuff like that is decent for a monitor. I mean, it's not one-to-one, but it's fine. At the top, you have a 1x4 print of Sonic's lives count, which, yeah, that works fine too, even though that shouldn't be in the top and that should be in the bottom left-hand corner. The tree builds are fine, and this build right here, I guess, passes for what could be a crab meat, even though it's just a roller skate piece. I really wish we could have closed this up so we could just have the underside of this Sega Genesis controller. It looks very awkward when you remove it from the stand. You just kind of have that back opened right there, but I guess you just will have to not show the back. As for that front, I like how LEGO gives the option to capture the European Mega Drive variant of this Sega Genesis controller, where we have 2 sets of stickers and even extra pieces for not only that version, but the Japanese Mega Drive version. Even if there's an overlap between the Japanese and American and European versions of this controller, where say the European version has the same stickers for the buttons right there, and the Japanese version has the same Mega Drive logo for that 2x6 tile. It's still very generous that they include all of those as swappable pieces, and they don't just make you have to choose one for the amount of pieces they include. I like that. We will show those versions of the controller, but I have it in the North American version because that's what I grew up with, but also I have a North American controller here to compare the two. Unlike the Game Boy, which is pretty one-to-one in size with the original console, this controller is noticeably smaller than the design of the actual controller. That's fine, I don't have a huge problem with that. What I do have a problem with is the use of stickers here, like I said earlier, and also the lack of other detailed designs. Like if you're going to use stickers, at least give us designs for, say, this control pad directions around there, which you probably could have gotten away with. It would have been a little bit frustrating, but just putting stickers on each of those tiles right there. Putting a start sticker right here, and putting the ABC top button stickers with the trigger tag somewhere around here. I mean, it would require this to be rebuilt a bit because it wouldn't be stickers across multiple pieces, but I'm sure LEGO could have found a way. I get it, it's a giveaway promo. I shouldn't be expecting so much from such a simple set, but that's just why I feel kind of disappointed with this one. There's also a strange lack of roundness at these little corners right here, and I wish that was just built a little bit better because you end up having that roundness cut off where on the actual controller you could see that this is pretty perfectly round. And like I said, I really do wish that we had some push feature for these buttons like the Game Boy has. I will say this is a clever use of this T-bar piece, as I call it, for the start button. I do like that part usage. And this is about the piece I would expect for the directional pad, so that's fine, though. It would have been cool to see that more indented. But this looks really bad when you swap out the stickers. Being the Japanese variant is really poor in its alignment of this signage right here, where that Mega Drive control pad should be much closer to the edge up here. Instead, since they only have that 2x6 to swap out, it's stuck in the center there, which looks completely off if you ask me. And that's a detail that's a problem with the European version of this controller design as well. I really don't have too much else to say. There's no actual cord like the original controller. Instead, they kind of illustrate that top part of the start of the cord. Maybe it would have been cool to do that, but then that would have a whole other problem. I guess you could have had a build for the cord with this, end part that you actually put into the console. But I don't think that's a problem with the set, that lack of that feature. Rather, it's the detailing of this front design, the inaccuracies with this back, and how you can't even close the back. As for the build of the stand, I'm actually kind of impressed at how this came out. I really like this build right here, where it just slides onto the stand without actually connecting to any studs or anything like that. But it makes an excellent display stand, where you can also display it from the back if you'd want, where you can just push it right there. And yeah, there's a difference in cheese slope at the back, so now it's a green design. And this stand, you can see an overhead view right here where it is connected with that Technic pin, so you can move it back and forth like a seesaw. I was also impressed by the Game Boy's use of pieces to replicate the technology within the console. You don't get that with the controller here. I don't know if I have too much else to say with this set. One thing I liked is that the instructions, since they use that black and white design for a logo, remind me of the instructions of a Sega Genesis like game, because they usually have black and white on there, but then again they have a colored version on the back. But since the front of this controller is just in black and white, it kind of worked out there. I don't know if that was an intentional reference. But yeah, I don't recommend getting this on eBay right now, which would be the only way to get it, secondhand for like $40. It could have been so much more, and I get that it's a giveaway promo, so it doesn't have the budget to go crazy. But comparing it to something like the Game Boy, which is $60, it feels so lackluster and so much less detailed and so much more frustrating in its execution. I can't really rate this set since it doesn't have a specific price to it, but I'm pretty dang disappointed with how this turned out. The Sega Genesis was my first console ever, and I kind of want a more dedicated Sega Genesis console build sometime that would come with a better version of this controller. But let me know if I'm being too hard on this set. Do you agree or disagree with my takes? Leave them in the comments below. Seriously, you liking, commenting, and subscribing means so much for this channel, and I'll see you later. Peace out.